Hello, my name is Stephanie Litchie. I'm a registered nurse in the state of Minnesota, and I'm a student here at National American University. I'm in the Master of Science in Nursing with emphasis in education program. Back in 2004, I received an associate degree in nursing from Century College. So in an attempt to find a preceptor, I decided to email faculty members from that college. After receiving a response from one faculty member, I set up a meeting with a potential preceptor, Ms. Greger. We met back in March and discussed some issues or concerns within their nursing program. Eventually, Ms. Greger became my preceptor, and I was able to choose a project topic, standardized tests. Century College is a member of the Minnesota Alliance for Nursing Education, Maine. Along with Century College, 6 other community colleges and 1 state university participate in Maine. I recall that when I attended Century College, it was difficult to transition from an associate degree program to a bachelor's degree program. So to help ease this transition, Maine was created. So the goal of Maine is to increase student access to a bachelor's degree program. Maine requires that the nursing programs at the community colleges use standardized tests by Assessment Technologies Institute, ATI. The community colleges share a 5-semester curriculum plan, but the curriculum is not standardized. At the end of each semester, students have to take a standardized test. At the preceptor's community college, each faculty member determines how a student's standardized test result will factor into their grade. So some faculty members might choose to grade on a curve, while others might choose to award extra credit. These inconsistencies in grading practices occur at the preceptor's community college, but it is unclear as to if the inconsistencies in grading practices are occurring at the other 6 community colleges in Maine. Also, at the preceptor's community college, faculty are not using the standardized test results for program evaluation and curriculum change. So faculty are not using the test results to their full potential. It is also unknown as to how the faculty at the other 6 community colleges are using these standardized test results. These issues are important because the National League for Nursing created a fair testing imperative, and it stated that faculty need to be consistent in their grading practices and that they should use standardized test results for a variety of purposes. So faculty need to support the NLN's fair testing imperative. So the purpose of my project is threefold. So at the 7 community colleges in Maine, my project is going to evaluate how standardized test results contribute to students' final course grades. It will also evaluate faculty perceptions regarding the purpose or purposes of standardized tests, and it will assess how faculty members use standardized tests in their nursing programs. The next section is the literature review. A literature review was performed to determine what is known about standardized testing. Most of the studies that I found were case studies or were descriptive studies. A few studies offered some suggestions on how faculty could incorporate standardized test results into a student's grade, but the suggestions varied and no best practice was found. There was no evidence on faculty perceptions regarding the purpose or purposes of standardized tests. There were several articles that mentioned ways that faculty can use standardized test results, but it is still of interest to know how faculty use standardized test results at the 7 community colleges in Maine. The next section was the Institutional Review Board. The Institutional Review Board is used to protect the rights of human research subjects. For this project, Institutional Review Board approval was not needed. The project is going to be using a descriptive research survey design. The survey is going to be developed by SurveyMonkey, and the participants' responses then are going to be anonymous. The participants are going to be faculty members from the 7 community colleges in Maine, and the project doesn't involve any vulnerable populations. Faculty will be sent an email survey invitation discussing confidentiality, voluntary participation, and so on and so forth. The ATI test results will be provided by the preceptor. Data will be stored on a password-protected computer and will be kept for the required length of time and then destroyed. The next section is the theoretical framework. The theoretical framework is used to guide a project. So since Maine is really committed to quality improvement, a quality improvement framework seemed to be a good fit. So the specific quality improvement framework that I chose is the Academic Quality Improvement Program, AQUIP. It can be used by educational institutions and nursing programs to facilitate continuous quality improvement. AQUIP resembles the Plan, Do, Check, Act approach. It is based on 10 principles that are found in educational institutions that use a systematic approach to quality improvement. There are also 9 categories used to evaluate systems or processes in educational institutions. So both these 10 principles and these 9 categories are used to guide quality improvement efforts. The last section is methods. And methods involves all aspects of data collection. There are several elements within this section that I will discuss. The first one is project site. The project site will be at the preceptor's community college. The community college is a public community college in Minnesota, and it has an associate degree in nursing program. So data is going to be collected from the preceptor's community college, but data is also going to be collected from faculty at the other 6 community colleges in Maine. The next area is state of evidence. Again, there was limited evidence on faculty grading practices regarding standardized tests, and there was limited evidence on faculty perceptions regarding the purpose or purposes of standardized tests. So since there was limited evidence, a descriptive survey approach used to generate evidence was selected. Both primary and secondary data are going to be used. Primary data is data that is collected by the first time by the researcher, and secondary data is data that is collected or has already been collected by somebody other than the researcher. So for this project, the primary data will include data from a cross-sectional survey. So a cross-sectional survey is a survey that is administered at one particular point in time. And for the secondary data, ATI test results from the preceptor's community college will be used. The secondary data is the existing data. So due to some accessibility and feasibility issues, the preceptor is only able to obtain ATI test scores from her community college. The ATI test results from the last 2 classes are going to be used to propose some ways that faculty could use standardized tests in their nursing programs. The ATI test results are going to provide some quantitative data. Quantitative data is data that is numerical, and qualitative data is data that is in a narrative form. So surveys can yield quantitative or qualitative data. So if a survey tends to use mostly closed-ended questions, it is quantitative data. And if a survey tends to use mostly open-ended questions, it is qualitative data. So most of the survey questions that I will be using are closed-ended questions. Therefore, it will provide quantitative data. The survey participants are going to be faculty members who teach at an associate degree nursing program. The inclusion criteria is that the faculty member has to be employed at a community college in Maine. They also have to be a full-time faculty member or a part-time faculty member. Faculty email addresses will be provided by the preceptor, and then I will send out an email survey invitation to faculty. The project tool, since there was limited evidence on this topic, it was difficult to locate a project tool. But the project tool that I will be using is a 3-part survey that was developed by Coons in an attempt to explore the use of standardized tests within nursing programs. So for the first part, the researcher developed her own questions, or questions that she needed to develop in order to answer her research questions. And the second part were questions that were from a nursing competency survey. And the third part was demographic information. So survey reliability was not mentioned, but the survey was used only one time by the researcher. But face and content validity were established. So in order to answer my research questions, the survey is going to need to be modified. So I will email Dr. Coons asking permission to use her survey. After obtaining her permission, I will develop and pilot test the new survey. Both my preceptor and instructor will provide suggestions, and revisions will be made before the survey will be distributed. I want to thank you for listening, and I hope you will approve my project proposal.